Welcome everyone, and welcome Brad Seaman, Ikon's CEO and Managing Director.
Hi Leanne.
Thanks for joining us. Ikon is always a really dynamic place. Tell me a little bit about what's coming up, what's new at Ikon. I know there's some new roles that you've just appointed, so maybe we can start there.
Yeah, it's true. One of the advantages of being a relatively small organisation is that we're able to grow and change at a fairly high pace. We're, I guess, less bureaucratic than some other environments. So new roles. Just yesterday we appointed George Sarantoulias to the role of placement officer while Shireen's on maternity leave in Adelaide. We also have appointed Mandy, and I've just forgotten her last name, to the role of student support officer in Sydney. And Laura Stambulia started recently as the student support officer in Melbourne. So that's a couple of the recent appointments. We're in the process of recruiting for an admin role in Melbourne, and I'm interviewing for that at the moment. And we're also working on some additional academic roles and a head of higher education. So currently interviewing for that. So quite a few roles. These are all additions. So that's really exciting for us as well, because it's about us moving forward.
So it's fair to say that there's a significant growth period currently for the organisation.
Yeah, I think when we first started the degrees and sort of all the issues happened with vet fee help, that generated a slowing down of organisational growth. And so we kind of even shrank a little bit during that period. But now the degrees are really hitting their straps. I think that's the same. And they're building momentum. We're finding that the organisation's growing again. So that's really exciting. And we're moving into a new campus in Sydney. It's ironic because we were there and then we weren't there, and we're going back there. So it's sort of a life cycle, but we're moving back to Ikon House, which is 65 York Street in Sydney. So some of our students are familiar with it, but it's a great place. It's a nice building with nice light, and it's our first permanent home in Sydney. So that's a really exciting development, and we're hoping to move in there at the very start of August, so not far away.
And we'll be teaching the Bachelor of Arts Therapy and the Bachelor of Counselling and Psychotherapy at the Sydney campus.
Just to start off with, and we'll see what else follows.
Fantastic.
It's also exciting because that's our first shared campus with the Australian Learning Group. So now that we are in the same group as them, we have a new opportunity to be able to lease premises together and bring our organisations working more closely together, which gives us much better sort of scale and opportunity to provide, even better services to our students. So it's exciting.
Very exciting. And I guess going along the same theme of growth and expansion, Ikon has has entered the international market in recent times, and is bringing more and more international students to Ikon.
Indeed. So we started working with international students about 18 months ago. It's a very significant sort of additional pillar, I guess, to Ikon's service delivery. It's really exciting for us because international students bring a whole new flavour, because they've got different cultural backgrounds, different experiences, different, a whole range of diversity, which is really valuable for us. It also means that, living in such a multicultural country, and we've always had a really broad multicultural student base, but that's further broadened with having international students. It's also really exciting for us because I just think about the fact that these students are coming over from countries that don't necessarily have the types of services and qualifications that we offer, and that they're developing such fantastic skills, and then they're going to be able to take that, either live here and deliver those services, or take them back to their country of origin and provide completely new and unique services. So I'm really excited about that, and we're getting international students from all over the world. So from Asia, from Europe, from Latin America, from the States, everywhere. So we've got a great diversity.
And I think in particular for those students that haven't come from an English speaking background, the opportunity to join our domestic students and really fast track their English learning as well in the classroom, and dealing directly with native English speakers is an important part of their learning journey too.
It is indeed. Often international students find themselves in institutions where they're just with other international students, and often with international students from the same country, which is fine. That helps in heaps of ways. But one of the disadvantages of that is that they don't get the same cultural immersion, which then, I guess, is an opportunity lost, both in terms of English language development, but also developing the social networks and cultural understanding that will help them be successful.
Yeah, it's a win-win all around.
Yep, it's great for everyone. And the feedback so far, both from the students and from our domestic students, has been really positive.
I think it's a great learning experience for our domestic students too, to learn about other cultures.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. So some more exciting things that are coming up. We have our next open day for 2019 on the 20th of July.
Yep.
Being held in Adelaide, Melbourne and Brisbane.
Yep.
And we'll be speaking specifically to our higher education qualifications, the Bachelor of Arts Therapy and the Bachelor of Counselling and Psychotherapy. So we do look forward to seeing any potential students at that open day, and we have another one scheduled for the 16th of November. And then at the opposite end of the spectrum, we're at a student's conclusion of study and celebration of their journey with us, we have graduations coming up.
Yeah, so obviously Open Day is great. It's a great opportunity for potential students to get a real, tangible, felt sense of Ikon. So they get to meet the staff, look at the place, experience what we're about, more than what they're sort of hearing and reading, which is good. And we always try and ensure that we've got academics present at those, so they can ask more of the curly content questions if they need. And sometimes it's about, I think sometimes those of us in the industry forget that other people don't have any understanding of counselling and psychotherapy or art therapy before they start their journey. So often it's a real fact-finding, or exploration of what's possible, both in terms of career and in terms of all the different modalities and whether or not it's a right fit for them. So it's a good opportunity to explore that. In terms of graduation, yes, we're planning those as we speak, which is super. We've said exciting lots of times in this conversation, but graduation's really deeply meaningful. It's a great celebration for our students of their journey and what they've learned and their qualification, and a real consolidation of the process that they've been through, and a springboard into their future, which is fantastic. But it's also a really awesome opportunity for our team, because they get to pause and reflect on the contribution that they've made to someone's journey and to celebrate that effort in supporting those people. And they get to experience the joy of the culmination of that, which is really valuable. This graduation sort of round set is really exciting because we'll be graduating our first students from our bachelor's degrees. So that is the culmination of years and years of work. The getting to a graduating cohort started probably 6 years ago, when you consider all the planning and the preparation and the applications and all of that sort of stuff. So it's a big moment for us.
Absolutely important, and really the pinnacle of their journey with us.
Totally. Yeah, it's great.
So in terms of your role at Ikon, Brad, you've been CEO here for a number of years now. What would you say have been the greatest challenges for you?
Yes, October this year will be my 11th year, so it's been a long time. The challenges of our space, I think there's a number of things. So navigating bureaucracy and public policy, politics would probably be one of the really significant challenges, because they affect us so significantly, but we don't get to have a direct say in what occurs, and often just get affected by it, which is a shame at times. Obviously politicians would suggest that the democratic process, provides the opportunity for consultation and, contribution, but the reality is that things happen and they can be really wholesale in their effect. So that's a big factor. I think that the education space has become more bureaucratic, which I think is a shame. But the thing that we're about hasn't really changed. Us generating social change through education hasn't changed. That's what we're about. The qualifications that we deliver have changed and evolved, but the central premise of what they're about, which is helping people help others, hasn't changed. Our focus on rigorous academic learning, strong skill development, and deep personal growth hasn't changed. We do that slightly differently, but that's still really important to us, and still, I think, unfortunately, is still a really differentiating thing about Ikon. I would like it if it was less rare, but it is still very rare. One of the things that we do and continue to strive to do is still very challenging, which is we're commercialising what's inherently not commercial, which is the care and facilitation and healing of others, without commercialising it. So we try and resist the commercialisation of that care and healing, and the process of that. And that is very challenging, because we're a business and we need to stay afloat and make a profit to continue to exist, but that needs to not be what we're about. And balancing the tension of those things is often very difficult, and lots of people have lots of views about how that should be done, and navigating all of those can be challenging.
Do you think in that sense that Ikon has been a disruptor in the education space?
Yeah, look, disruption's kind of it's like innovation. It's one of the sort of flavour of the month terms. I'm not trendy, and I think the answer is yes, but not with the goal to disrupt. Our goal has always been to provide profound learning, and And so that has never changed. That will continue to be our goal. We'll continue to develop new ways of doing that, new qualifications, new delivery formats, new methodologies, etc. But that will continue to be what we're about. Does that disrupt? It does, because we try and do that with authenticity, without it sort of being just talking to it. That, involves disruption. Like it disrupts assumptions and prejudices about how things should be done. It also causes us to reflect and disrupt and change how we do things. It also disrupts people's world when they study with us to some extent, because it challenges them. That's one of the other tensions. When you're providing a service to a customer, which we are, we still have to teach them. So there's an interesting balance in terms of power and role, where we need to meet customers' needs, but we also need to lead and drive and determine the trajectory of that. And sometimes that's uncomfortable for people, and it involves a lot of trust, and that's a responsibility we take really seriously. But we also need to not be too paternalistic in terms of how we do that. So, that's delicate.
And I think that's part of the struggle of disruption, whether it's on a personal level or a bigger level. The struggle towards that ultimate goal. And I think Ikon has effectively revolutionised education in our field, and will continue to.
Yeah, but almost by not doing anything new, in a way. Like, what we're doing in some respects is new, but it's also the way it's been done for a long time. I think it's part of it is about not changing with the wind direction, but holding your values and your course through the change in weather is part of what makes us unique, but constantly growing and evolving, because we try and actually do ourselves the things that we teach, which can be challenging, can also set up very lofty expectations, which we try and meet, but also take a pragmatic approach to as well. We don't try and be all things to all people at all times, because that's just going to lead to disappointment.
Yeah, but I think Ikon have definitely established as specialists in the creative therapies, in counselling and psychotherapy, and community services to an extent as well.
Definitely.
And I think that specialisation is what gives us the ability to teach with conviction and stand by our values.
Yeah, and our academics continue to grow and develop and practice, and that means that they're constantly creating and developing and providing new and improved learning experiences as well.
A little known fact about you is that you studied neurobiology.
Yeah, I did a honours degree in neuroscience, so spent a fair bit of time not a fair bit, I guess it was brief comparatively now, but basic science was where I started, which is great. One of the things that we try and do now in our degrees is, when people are learning about the mind and the psyche, we try and have them also learn a little bit around physiology as well, because gut health and mobility and exercise and nutrition and all of those things have an effect on your physiology and your psyche. So trying to round that out within the limitations of the sort of qualifications that we have, and we love to teach everything, is one of the things that we do, which is often very different.
So do you think that grounding in neuroscience is what's brought you to this point? In tracking your journey from that, studying that to now?
In terms of my journey, I think it helped cultivate curiosity. One of the things that I learned fairly early on when I was pursuing science was that the best scientists didn't tell you what they knew, they told you what they didn't know, and they were keenly aware of that. And I think that was indicative of their level of knowledge, but also their keen curiosity. And I think that's one of the really important points around therapeutic practice, is being curious and maintaining that even as you learn and know and have more experience, but holding that curiosity, which enables you to connect with your clients and to explore their world much more comprehensively. So I think that those things are transferable, and I think that for me, the mind and the psyche is like it's like space, like it's boundless, and so that just provides so much opportunity for exploration.
And what would you say have been the biggest rewards for you in this journey with Ikon?
One of them has been the avoidance of one of the things that plagues lots of people. So I think that meaning and value is something that plagues a lot of people in their working life. Like they have a sense that they're doing, but it's meaningless in the broader scheme of things. I've never ever had that question since I've been working with Ikon. I've always known deeply inside myself that what we're doing is valuable. And even if a person doesn't complete the qualification, I know that the skills and knowledge and reflection that they've done has provided the opportunity for growth and development that they can apply in any part of their life. So that's been great, because it means, I guess when we've failed, we've succeeded. For me as well, the reward has been working with great people that are contributing to others, so to be in service of others. It's been rewarding to I guess not sell out, which would be the easy path. It's been just having people going out and doing this sort of work and understanding. Like, it's not very hard for me to connect with, if we're graduating 150, 200 people a year from our qualifications, and those 200 people a year are working with 100 people each, and those 2,000, or I hope my maths is correct, 2,000 people, clients, all know 7 people closely. We're starting to tell thousands and thousands of people that are directly having their lives changed and influenced and improved based on the work that we do. So that is the thing that I try and connect to when navigating the challenges that you face when you're running a small organisation, when staffing and finances and bureaucracy and regulatory frameworks and all of the stuff that is the material that sort of gets in the way of what we're about. So yeah, it's been rewarding. It's been exciting.
Good to hear.
Challenging and hard work, but meaningful.
Yeah, and I think your clear passion for the fields that we teach has propelled you.
It's been good.
And what would you say your biggest influences have been here at Ikon?
It's been, yeah, look, I think initially it was actually our course. So I studied our transpersonal counselling course, and that had a profound influence on me in terms of my thinking and how I engaged with others, and so that was really valuable. And I got to see firsthand the effect that it had in our students' lives, because A, I was one, but B, I was in the classroom with other students. And subsequently I've been able to see the really valuable work that those people have done. So that was a really significant influencer. And then I think subsequent to that, it's been our team, our academic team and the rest of the team. And that's the influence of working closely with people, but it's also the influence of trying to do the best by them, for them, and constantly sort of growing to try and provide a positive experience and support them through their challenges and do it together as a team. So I think, everyone's got an ego. I've got a big one. And having the appropriate flexibility but also strength in that sort of egoic structure can be challenging, and constantly learning, and but the biggest influence would be the people.
So it's been a process of really nurturing the team even.
Yeah, and also being nurtured by them, I think, as well. So it goes both ways.
In terms of future plans for Ikon, I know that we still have in development some master's qualifications.
Yep.
When are they potentially looking to be launched?
Yeah, with some of the strategic changes that have occurred and staffing changes, i.e. K's passing, that's slowed down the development of the masters. It's still a really high priority, so we're trying to sort of put more energy into that, and I think in this second half of the year we'll be able to put much more energy in, so I'd love to see it in before Christmas, fingers crossed. I don't know. Sometimes it feels really early in the year, and then other times I feel like it's like October, November already, because my thinking's always so far, in terms of the future that we have to operate. We've also got other bachelor's qualifications that we're working on as well. So there's a range of accreditation activity that we're involved in, and we're doing it very slowly, very carefully, to ensure that it's high quality and meets all of the regulatory requirements and exceeds them. So you can only dance as fast as the music, otherwise you look like an idiot. So that's what we're trying to do. And I want to do all of it anyway.
Do you want to do that first, the challenge bit?
Yeah, fine.
Yep.
Great. Can you see my hands fidgeting while I'm doing this? Does it look creepy?
No, they're cut off at the bottom.
Cool. Excellent. Are we on?
Yeah.
I think another challenge. Well, there's a couple of challenges that I can speak to as well. For the organisation, one of the challenges that I think that is not very obvious is pragmatically implementing philosophy. So we've got strong values and principles and philosophies that we try and operate by. They're the things that we teach. And pragmatically implementing those can be very challenging. So that's probably one of the challenges. And it can be whether or not you're compromising on the philosophy in the implementation, but it can also be actually just doing it and sticking true to it. Because in my experience, sometimes people, they want you to be in principled when it suits them, and then they want you to not be in principled, when it suits them as well. So navigating that can be challenging. Another one, I think, for me personally, leadership, of which I see my role as being, I feel like I'm more of a leader than a manager, or at least I'm just not a great manager, so hopefully I'm a reasonable leader, is about creating clarity when there isn't some for others, and supporting and facilitating and encouraging them. But often it's about creating clarity. And so I think one of the challenges is navigating the landscape and the terrain, and identifying and creating a clear pathway for your team to tread. That's one of the challenges of leadership and of the organisation. But I think that would probably be true of any organisation.
And what would you say your biggest influences have been here at Ikon? Or any influences?
I think initially it was actually our course. So I studied our transpersonal counselling course, and that had a profound influence on me in terms of my thinking and how I engaged with others, and so that was really valuable. And I got to see firsthand the effect that it had in our students' lives, because A, I was one, but B, I was in the classroom with other students. And subsequently I've been able to see the really valuable work that those people have done. So that was a really significant influencer. And then I think subsequent to that, it's been our team, our academic team and the rest of the team. And that's the influence of working closely with people, but it's also the influence of trying to do the best by them, for them, and constantly sort of growing to try and provide a positive experience and support them through their challenges, and do it together as a team. So I think, everyone's got an ego. I've got a big one. And having the appropriate flexibility, but also strength in that sort of egoic structure can be challenging, and constantly learning, and but the biggest influence would be the people.
So it's been a process of really nurturing the team, even.
Yeah, and also being nurtured by them, I think, as well. So it goes both ways.
In terms of future plans for Ikon, I know that we still have in development some master's qualifications.
Yep.
When are they potentially looking to be launched?
Yeah, with some of the strategic changes that have occurred, and staffing changes, i.e. Kay's passing, that's slowed down the development of the masters. It's still a really high priority, so we trying to sort of put more energy into that and I think in this second half of the year we'll be able to put much more energy in. So I'd love to see it in before Christmas. Fingers crossed. I don't know. Sometimes it feels really early in the year, and then other times I feel like it's like October, November already, because my thinking's always so far, in terms of the future that we have to operate. We've also got other bachelor's qualifications that we're working on as well. So there's a range of accreditation activity that we're involved in, and we're doing it very slowly, very carefully, to ensure that it's high quality and meets all of the regulatory requirements and exceeds them. So you can only dance as fast as the music, otherwise you look like an idiot. So that's what we're trying to do.
Very good.
So we're working on those.
Is there anything that you wanted to add?
No, look, I think that people's experience of Ikon will continue to grow and develop. We're changing, which is cool. It feels a bit like the organisation, we're like adolescents at the moment, like in sort of the life cycle. Like Ikon's, it was, a 14-year-old 12 months ago, and now, we're 18 or 19. Still lots of growing and changing and developing, but with a clearer sense of path and identity and those sorts of things that continues to develop and strengthen.
Well, thank you for navigating all of those challenges during your time, and you'll continue to do so. Thank you to all of the Ikon community for their participation, because they make Ikon what it is.
It is. It's all about them and what they do.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Bye.
So how long was that? Very good.
So we're working on those.
Is there anything that you wanted to add?
No, look, I think that people's experience of Ikon will continue to grow and develop. We're changing, which is cool. Still lots of growing and changing and developing, but with a clearer sense of path and identity and those sorts of things that continues to develop and strengthen.
Well, thank you for navigating all of those challenges during your time, and you'll continue to do so. Thank you to all of the Ikon community for their participation, because they make Ikon what it is.
It is. It's all about them and what they do.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Bye.